Humpback whales, a magnificent species reaching up to 62 feet long and weighing as much as 88,000 pounds, are truly breathtaking. These whales can be seen in every ocean except the icy polar regions. From April to June, they migrate to warmer shores looking for food. Unfortunately, every year, hundreds of them die because of human actions, like getting caught in fishing nets. This has pushed them close to extinction, and they are now listed in the Red Book. In 2024, a heart-wrenching event shed light on their plight, moving many people and deeply touching their hearts. Once upon a time, in early 2024, during the summer, tourists flocked to the coast to catch a glimpse of the majestic humpback whales. The atmosphere was calm and excited until a sudden alarm broke the peace. A tourist shouted and pointed at something unusual. The crowd quickly gathered around him and saw a small humpback whale caught in fishing nets. The scene was horrifying. The whale had deep cuts from the nets, and its neck and mouth were tightly bound, making it difficult for the whale to open its mouth and to eat. The whale, looking weak and thin, struggled desperately to free itself from the nets. This young whale, probably a calf, was in grave danger. As it grew, the nets would cut even deeper, leading to its slow and painful death. Seeing the seriousness of the situation, the onlookers immediately contacted environmentalists and local authorities. An urgent meeting was called, and a major rescue operation was quickly organized. Rescue teams, volunteers, scientists, and environmentalists came together to devise a plan to save the whale. Volunteers readied themselves to help in any way possible. Local residents, including sea captains, fishermen, and guides familiar with the area, eagerly joined the effort. But before we delve deeper into the story, don't forget to subscribe and give that like button a tap. Let's continue the story. Once the entire team was assembled, the search for the whale began in earnest. Environmentalists reported that the entangled whale was still moving with its group, sticking to its usual route. Rescuers used drones and boats to cover about 75 miles of coastline, searching all day for the tangled calf. Volunteers also walked the shore, making sure the calf wasn't overlooked. Despite their hard work, thick fog, strong winds, and high waves made the search incredibly tough. But the team pushed on, thanks to the Arctic's constant daylight. After several days of tireless searching, the whale was finally spotted alive. This was a huge relief, but the hardest part was yet to come: freeing the whale from the nets. The rescuers were determined to help and, moved by the situation, named the whale Everett, meaning strong and brave. Approaching Everett was tricky since whales spend most of their lives underwater. Rescuers had to wait for the right moment when the whale came up to breathe. When Everett finally surfaced, they had only seconds to find him, get close, and cut the ropes. The situation was intense. The frightened calf might resist, making the rescue even more difficult. Environmentalists warned that if the rescue failed, Everett wouldn't survive more than a month. Getting close to such a large, scared animal without causing harm was extremely challenging. To make things even harder, Everett's mother was always nearby, trying to protect her calf by blocking the rescuers, not understanding they were there to help. The first attempt to free the whale, made the day after it was found, was a challenging start. When the rescuers tried to get close to the calf, the mother humpback came charging at them. Luckily, none of the rescuers were hurt, but they couldn't free the whale. Despite this setback, the team didn't give up. For 3 hours, they worked tirelessly from their boats, trying to attach a special device with knives to cut through the fishing nets. Being in the water near the whale was too dangerous, so they had to stay in their boats. Strong waves, wind, and thick fog made their task even harder. Everett, the whale, was scared and tried to swim away as much as the nets allowed. Tourists, who came too close in their boats, made things worse. The frightened calf would dive deep into the water to escape them, making it even harder for rescuers to reach him. The rescuers kept at it. Over the next few days, they made several more attempts using small boats. They tried approaching Everett from different angles, hoping for a few seconds to cut the nets. Each time, something got in their way, whether it was bad weather, the whale's resistance, or its protective mother. If the nets had been on Everett's tail, it would have been easier to free him from behind. But because the nets were around his neck and mouth, rescuers had to approach from the front, which was very tricky. Other whales, not understanding the rescuer's intentions, shielded Everett with their large bodies, complicating the rescue. On the 5th day, their perseverance paid off. Exhausted but determined, the rescuers began another attempt early in the morning. After hours of chasing and maneuvering, they finally managed to get close to Everett's head. As Everett surfaced to breathe, one rescuer quickly hooked a special knife onto the nets. With a swift cut, the nets around his neck and mouth were freed. Cheers erupted. Everett was finally free. According to the rescuers, the fishing net that nearly killed the calf was about 10 feet long, but their job wasn't done yet. They needed to make sure the whale was completely free of any remaining nets and ropes, so they followed the calf from a safe distance for several more hours. The whale seemed to be celebrating its freedom, leaping out of the water as if to show its happiness. Although there were still marks on its body from the nets, the absence of ropes meant the wounds should heal over time. The key was that the wounds weren't too deep, which would prevent infection. After being rescued, Everett slowly swam back toward his group, who had been patiently waiting nearby. The news of the successful rescue spread quickly, and people who had been anxiously following the story let out a sigh of relief. On social media and in the press, the rescuers were hailed as heroes. This rescue operation was extraordinary, carried out in the tough Arctic conditions, and involved many people working long hours to free the whale. The team used the latest technology and methods, collaborating with the International Marine Environmental Organization. Their success gave them valuable experience for future rescues. Inspired by their achievement, the rescuers proposed creating a special whale protection center with a rapid response team ready to assist marine mammals in distress. Tragically, incidents like Everett's highlight humanity's careless impact on nature. Each year, thousands of whales, dolphins, and other sea creatures die trapped in fishing nets and gear. Many more suffer due to pollution from plastics and chemicals. To save these incredible animals for future generations, we need to change how we interact with nature. We must ensure that fishing and other ocean activities are safe for wildlife. It's also crucial to clean up trash from our oceans. The rescue of Everett gives us hope and reminds us of our duty to protect all living things. Every life saved, whether a giant whale or a tiny bird, shows that kindness can triumph over neglect and cruelty. That's all for today. Now, it's your turn to share your thoughts about this story. What's the next story you'd like to know? Let us know in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe so you won't miss any of these amazing videos on the Wild Wonder.